Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and today is Wednesday, and you already know what Wednesday is. 306 degree of health. So every Wednesday we got my main man, Dr. Michael Mantell, who always bring us absolutely fantastic guests. And I'm excited about the show today. How you doing, Dr. Mike? How you
Doing,
doing?
doing great, doing great. And do we have a timely, wonderful show today? Amazing.
Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. How you doing, Dr. Michelle?
I am doing good, and this show is timely, definitely. I love having this guest back on the show. She's gonna really give some helpful tints on the topic at hand.
The topic at hand, I tell you what, today we all need this. And I tell you, we are going to have an absolutely fantastic, magnificent show. And if you want to be part of the conversation, whichever platform that you're watching us on, all you have to do is just go to the platform, the comments, ask any questions, or pick up the phone, dial 1-888-344-1170. Todd, how you doing today?
I'm always good, James. We're starting here about 10 seconds. We're going to lock everybody in.
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, locking everybody.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Doctor James J.C. Cooley.
Hello. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and this is Wednesday, 306 degree health. So, as you know, we got Dr. Michael Mantell that's co-hosting the show today. And I tell you what, he has done it again. He has brought another absolutely magnificent guest that's going to help us out, especially today. I mean, I'm gonna mention his election was last night and last 4 months. I mean, we all been stressed out and we all have been out our elements. And I think it's about time that we get back on the right track, get back in a regular routine and just start living life, So how you doing, Dr. Mike?
Doing well. You couldn't, you just said it so well, perfectly. It is time. And today's guest is one of the country's leading experts in this field of mental, physical well-being. So I'm delighted that she's back with us and is going to educate us again today.
She's been on the show before. It's been a while, and so I'm looking forward to this. How you doing, Dr. Michelle Cooley? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. And I'm excited about this guest. We were talking to her before the show became live, and she's got a lot of information to share with the audience.
Wow. Michelle, can you do the honors by introducing the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely magnificent returning guest?
Yes. Well, the title of today's show is 360 Degree Health, the power of routine on your mental health. And we're having a sit-down conversation with Jessica H. Maurer. She's a recognized fitness business consultant and strategist. She's going to discuss routines, how they can streamline tasks and improve time management, and how they provide a sense of predictability and control, and also about battle decision fatigue with routine and habits that can be used to incorporate healthy routines into daily life. So again, Jessica is a recognized fitness business consulting and strategist focusing on transforming business from overwhelmed to organized. Her international presentations and consultations for various brands underscore her commitment to helping fitness professionals and businesses realize their full potential, whether she's creating, presenting certifications and workshops at prestigious events or providing consulting services to local businesses. Jessica's expertise continues to shape and elevate the fitness and wellness industry with a focus on education, program and instructor development, and brand creation and awareness. She's a driving force behind positive change and growth in the fitness industry. Please welcome back to the show, Jessica H. Maurer.
Hey, welcome back to the show, Jessica. It's been a while since you've been on last time, and it's always a pleasure having you on the show. And it's like I mentioned at the opening. Sometimes we gear off routine and we let our mind take us in a lot of different angles, and so having you. This is the perfect therapy that our viewers and our listeners need to have today. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back. It's good to be back. And I know we planned this topic and this talk weeks ago without really knowing the impact that today was going to have. And so I really feel honored that we knew that everybody was going to need to get back on track. And that is the perfect way for us to start talking about how your habits and how your daily activities can really affect your mental well-being.
I think Dr. Michael Mantell saw the vision a few weeks back and said, JC, we have to have this on this day here. And just, I'm going to start it off with you. And, so can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you, where you grew up, what make you click, and why are you so passionate about the things that you're doing in the world?
Oh man, I love such a loaded question. So my name is Jessica H. Maurer, and I am originally from Southwest Georgia, from a very small town called Albany, Georgia. But I've lived in Tennessee, California, Utah, North Carolina. Now, currently, I am in Florida. My fitness career started off teaching sets and reps. I was a group fitness instructor, a personal trainer, and a group fitness manager. And what I quickly realized was that my passion really lied in helping other people learn new skills, whether that was helping new fitness professionals, helping new coaches, helping health coaching be able to understand more of their own career and their own path. And that led me down a glorious career path in which I've really been focused on helping people learn and utilize new skills and putting that in their life and in their career.
So interesting how you and I have connected. And we really intersected on this path of mental health, mental well-being, and fitness. And here we are talking about that very same topic. Let's start by talking a little bit about what are the benefits that you see of establishing routines for mental health.
Oh man, so the science really speaks for itself. There have been scientists around the world who have tried to figure out what makes people happy and then study those people to figure out what is it that has the most effect on their lives. And what they've come to realize is that people who have just a few set rituals or habits in the morning and around midday and then again at night are the ones who typically feel the happiest about their own presence, their being, and their lifestyle. So it doesn't take a huge laundry list. It doesn't take, a to-do list that's 10 things long. It really just takes a few key elements. And what we've seen is that those elements typically rely around movement, nutrition, mindfulness and meditation, and social connection. And so if you can have those four aspects scattered throughout your day as part of your routine, whether that be morning, noon, or night, you will notice a difference in how you present yourself to the world and how you present yourself to your own inner world.
So how does these routines help people, for example, with anxiety and depression, the leading emotional difficulties that most people are suffering with today in one level or another?
Oh, I love this question so much. As someone who deals with anxiety on a daily basis, I can tell you that my routines are my coping strategies. They are how I am protecting myself before I put myself out into a place where I know the anxiety is going to be the highest. And so what we've seen through studying mental well-being and studying the wellness habits that people have in order to become more fulfilled and happier is that these strategies and these habits allow for you to go almost on an autopilot. It's not I have to decide what to do. It's I do this. Every morning I do this. I don't have to make the decision about it. And that allows for us to not have so much decision fatigue. And decision fatigue, look, there's a reason why Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day for 300 years, right? So
300 years.
300 years. I'm determined that's how long it was. But it's the reason why he wore an outfit is he didn't have to make a decision in the morning. He did his routine so that he could save that decision for later in the day when stress levels did elevate. He had the willpower, he had the brain space still to make those decisions. And so we can really learn from that. Have these things already in line that we know. We're not deciding whether or not to do it. We are doing it. And then therefore we can save our willpower and our resiliency to come into effect later when we are going to hit across things.
Wow. Just I know just piggybacking off of what Dr. Mike had just said, but in your own experience, what roles does consistency play in boosting self-confidence? And tell us how that can reduce stress as well.
Everyone gets that feeling of accomplishment when you do something you set your mind to, even if it's as simple as I'm going to get the mail out of the mailbox every day for 7 days. Just that little task there is enough to make you feel accomplished. And that feeling of accomplishment, right, brings your confidence and your self-awareness levels up. Confidence in yourself is a way that you can help bring your own mental well-being up. And so by having consistency and starting with small steps that are very attainable and building upon those small steps and making them very attainable makes you feel like you're constantly winning. You're getting little victories, and little victories are acting like endorphins. They're going to help make you more consistent in your choices and help you feel better about yourself.
Wow. You mentioned little victories, and you're absolutely right, because those little victories give you that boost that I did this, so I can go ahead on and do the next thing and whatever else that I have planned. But it's important to have goals and for us to try to attain. We got to take a station break, but we just started and we're going to come back. And I know I got a lot of Dr. Mike got a million questions. I got from Jessica. So if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do, just go to the platform that you're watching us on, and I promise you we'll get you an answer. Or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. KCBQ AM 1170, Answer FM 96.1. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Hold up. Dr. James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. Hold up. It's your life. Hold up. Yeah. Dr. James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Country Life and back again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
The James Cooley Show. It's your
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you what, I came into the conversation there a little bit. I wouldn't say upset or nothing like that, but a tiny bit depressed. But just having this conversation, having Jessica on, Dr. Mike, you know what? I'm back in my routine. I'm back in my routine, and I said, "Hey, let's move forward." And a topic that we're talking about, just in case you're just coming in, we're talking about the power of routine on your mental health, and it's so important. You got one of the world's experts here with Jessica, that's sharing some of the ideas and sharing some of her thoughts with you, and then you got the world's best psychologist in Dr. Michael Mantell. So, you put those two together, you got yourself an all-star team. And I tell you what, if you want to be part of the conversation, I'll make it easy for you. Just pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170 again. That's 1-888-344-1170. Dr. Mike, you got it.
Okay. Well, someone who's practiced psychology for about 50 years, not quite anymore, but the fact is, anyone who's paying attention in the mental health world, if you have anxiety or depression or stress or burnout, the hot words that we read about, you know that two key words that you hear about all the time are resilience and acceptance. We talk about routines. Well, I'm concerned that one of the messages that some people are picking up who already think in a negative way, damn, what's wrong with me? I should have a routine. I don't have a routine. My routine, I can't go to the gym anymore because I hurt myself. See, I'm no good. And what do we? No. Jessica Maurer, you are truly amongst the top spokespeople for this area. So let's help those people. How do people accept the fact, okay, this routine, for whatever reason, you can't do anymore. Maybe you ran out of oatmeal, so the routine of the oatmeal in the morning is not there, or you broke your leg, you can't go to the gym right now. How can we help people accept resiliently that this routine doesn't work now, but there is importance in finding another routine?
Absolutely. You have to, first off, you have to accept the fact that things need to change. And that's something that most people don't want to accept. They don't want to say, okay, I know I have to make a change, because change can be uncomfortable. And so if you know that your routine is no longer serving you, like a great example you just brought up, your routine in the morning was to have oatmeal, and you ran out of oatmeal and your grocery store hadn't delivered it yet. You still need to make a very similar choice. You can't just say, oh man, whatever, now I'm gonna eat Cocoa Puffs. So you find the closest similar item you can and make that part of your routine for that morning until you can get back on your routine of having oatmeal the next day. You've accepted that you're not going to be able to make A work, so you make B. But let's go over to your other option, because your other option was, I can't go to the gym anymore because I broke my leg. That's not something that you can necessarily just hop and skip and jump and change in a day. That's a big lifestyle change. And so you have to figure out, what about the movement helped you cope with your stress, or helped you cope with your day, or made you feel better? And then you have to find something that is similar, but maybe not just right next to it. So adapting becomes so important for establishing your new habits, accepting the fact that it has to change. And we all hate to deal with change, but it's necessary and needed as part of being a human. And then adapting to your new life, adapting to your new situation or your new circumstance. I think that you brought up a really good point of, sometimes people feel like failures when they are actually winning by adapting. You should feel more successful by successfully creating an adaptation than thinking you're a failure for having to adapt.
So what are some of the challenges that people are facing? One is, as you say, that they think in irrational ways. What are there other obstacles and challenges that people face when trying to implement a new routine?
Life, just in general. Yeah. Everything can interrupt your new routine. But I think the biggest thing that we see is people going too big all at once. I'm going to tackle everything. I'm going to clean out my whole house all at once. And what we found is that when you go too big, you have more situational circumstances where you can fail. And in those failures or those hiccups, that tends to be when you get really far set back. So instead, going back to what we talked about just a few moments ago, of giving yourself little victories, starting small, taking one step at a time, not layering so many things all at once, but instead really putting your focus on something until you feel like it is a firm and established habit.
What about the idea of helping someone recognize they already have a routine?
Mm-hmm.
That we all live in routine. It may not be the hip, cool, trendy,
ice baths
routine.
and saunas. Mm-hmm.
Right. Maybe the hippest routine, but every human being has a routine. Maybe the question isn't like I need to start a routine, but rather what about the routine I have can be improved on? What do you think, Jessica?
I love this activity that I actually learned from my therapist, but they had me sit down and write down everything I did through the day,
right?
Everything I did for the week, for the month, and for the quarter, and planned everything out so that I could really see I did already have a routine. This is what I did every day. This was my routine. And then that allowed for me to say, well, what of this could I tweak so that I could include movement, proper nutrition, mindfulness and meditation, and social connection into my already established day? Because you're exactly right. We already have routines. It's just about finding the one that makes you feel the best.
By the way, did you notice at the beginning of the show, James and Michelle have that video and they go through all of those key topics?
It's amazing.
Brilliant, right? That was very cool. James, you got a question?
Absolutely. Hey, Jessica, suppose someone is feeling out of control and the things that they got going on. I mean, multiple things, and they don't know how to start a routine to help relieve some of the stress that they are having because they probably never had a routine that they stuck with. What recommendations would you give a person that might be feeling that way?
There is a really cool study surrounding something called the joy list. And the joy list is where a person sits down and essentially brainstorms on everything that brings joy into their life currently, in recent years past, in their childhood, and seeing what they could still connect with. And so they might find that when they looked into their past, they found a lot of joy when they were an active individual, when they were running cross country in high school, or they were playing volleyball in college. And so these things can help you to establish what you should be looking for in your next routine. So if you really enjoyed cooking and learning how to cook, and you've realized that in the last 7 years, you've not picked up a spatula, then it helps you realize that you should probably get into the habit of maybe cooking a meal for yourself a couple of times a week. Or looking back and saying, you know what, I really loved to craft when I was growing up and I got away from that. Well, then go to Joann's or go to Michael's and see what lovely craft you can pick up on. So really going and looking at nostalgic purposes, what in your past made you happy is a great way for you to brainstorm on what you can start doing now that would also make you happy.
I think that is absolutely fantastic because without a person going back in the past, but just looking forward and trying to find the things that they might have previously done that brought joy. I love the word joy, as you said it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great way for people to look back and be like, you know what, I was really happy in my life when I was talking to my best friend every day. And that can reestablish connections with that social part of your life that you might feel like you're missing. A lot of us feel very lonely in this post-pandemic world. And so connecting back with people who brought joy into your life is another great way to help really establish a more uplifting mental well-being state.
A routine killer is comparison. I say no more. James, you got it. I don't even have to comment. You want to pick up on that, Jessica?
I feel like that was such a mic drop. There's not much to follow up on, right? But 100% correct. It again, we look to the science, and studies have shown it does not matter your age group, your gender, or your economic status, but social media is the fastest way to ensure that your mental health plummets and doesn't increase. And so if you really want to have a flourishing mental well-being state, which we hope everyone does. If you really want to be thriving, then you can't compare yourself to others. And we all have to remember that we're wonderful individuals that all have different likes and dislikes, and that is perfectly okay and fine. And your life is going to look different than anyone else's. And the moment that you start feeling that imposter syndrome or that comparison creep up, I challenge you to go on a little bit of a social media detox and see how you feel after.
Go for a walk without listening to something on telling people what you should be like. Unpredictability and flexibility are keystones of living at the zenith of mental well-being, especially what we saw just the last couple of days, but particularly yesterday with the election. Some people wanted it one way, some people wanted another way. And I think that a keystone of healthy routine is ensuring that there's flexibility and adaptability to what's unpredictable. Can you talk a little bit about that, especially given the election, whichever side you're on?
Absolutely. I think that oftentimes when people think of the word routine or habits, they think every moment of their day has to be planned. And they think if they miss just one moment, that the whole thing's thrown off, or that every part of their week has to be planned, or they have to be very scheduled and meticulous. And that's not really the habits that we're talking about. We're really more focused in talking about the things that are going to allow for you to find happiness and joy in your day-to-day life. And so for the past couple of weeks, you probably spent a lot more time watching the news, reading headlines, answering text messages from people that don't and shouldn't have your phone numbers. Like, you probably spent a lot of time doing these things. And now we have to reestablish ourselves and say, what was I doing 5 months ago? And get back into those habits where you probably didn't pick up your phone first thing in the morning. You probably didn't go to bed with your phone with you. And maybe these have become your new traditions and your new habits of the last month, but we can put those to bed now, and we can adapt, and we can find new routines.
Wow. You mentioned people that shouldn't have had your phone number in the first place. That's going to take us to a commercial break. I'm going to probably be thinking about that the whole break. Okay. So if you want to be part of the conversation, whichever platform that you're watching us on, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any questions that you might have, or pick up the phone and call Toddy, KCBQ, AM 1170, answer, FM 96.1 at 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll be back with a lot more Jessica shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Craving a slice of Chicago right here in Temecula wine country? Then dive into legendary Chicago deep dish style pizza at Rosati's Pizza Pub. Piled high with gooey cheese, rich tomato sauce, and your favorite toppings, Rosati's delivers the taste of the Windy City right to your table or front door. Enjoy the cozy pub atmosphere and an impressive selection of Temecula wines. Come on down to Rosati's Pizza Pub for your slice of Chicago right here on Rancho California Road, or order online at myrosatis.com. Rosati's, where Chicago deep dish pizza meets Temecula charm.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
is the unfiltered truth to provide hope for the future by challenging you to refuse to become a victim of life's circumstance and dare to become an overcomer, because a bigger, better, and more impactful life awaits you. Get the new audio version of his book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, by Dr. James Cooley, on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you what, it's a lot of joy. Just in this conversation that we have, it's a lot of excitement because, Jessica came in, Doc, and turned the light on. She came in and turned the light on, and I told her, just lift up everybody's spirits. I got to go with my main man, Todd. Todd, what do you think about the show so far?
Great show. I'm learning a lot. It has me thinking about my routine and starting new routines. And I got to think that when it comes to routine and keeping a routine, one of the biggest aspects is discipline. Is that correct, Jessica?
That is. Or you can change that a little bit, not think about it discipline, but instead think about motivation as to why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So what motivates you to do it?
And that's so important, is being motivated to do something. But also, you mentioned earlier in the conversation about imposter syndromes, or when a person is bothering, they just sit back, they don't want to do anything, and they want to pretend like they're doing these things. You got to get up there. You got to put the work in. You got to get a routine, and you got to have this thing called stickability. Stickability.
That's right.
And if you start something, you gotta complete it. You gotta have goals. And I'm gonna turn it back over to Dr. Mike and just sit back and listen to a lot more Jessica right now.
So, Jessica, what are some of the long-term mental health benefits, improvements have you seen in your clients who adhere to consistent routines?
Pain is a great motivator sometimes. And the wonderful thing about movement every day, finding movement that feels good, that you love to do, is going to keep you in a more pain-free state. Because typically when I deal with clientele, it's aches, it's pains, it's the body's kind of changing. And that's what's sparking this movement forward, really investigating exercise or fitness or movement. And so it's a wonderful way to say, hey, moving every day in a way that brings you joy and happiness will also help you live in a less pain area, live pain-free. And so I love helping clients find the exercise modality that makes them feel good. Because if they like it, and if they can see how it's changing their body in a good way of moving into a more pain-free state, you're more likely to stick with it. As we just said, it's that mixture of discipline and motivation and that stickability. I loved that word. That really helps people continue forward. And as we mentioned before, every time you do something that you set your mind to, it's a little victory. It's a little way that you congratulate yourself on doing something you set your mind out to. And that helps grow your willpower, and that helps grow your confidence. And that helps ensure that you can tackle the next thing that you want to do, which might be nutrition, or it might be a mindfulness practice, or it might be a social connection piece that you feel like you're missing.
Sustaining routines really are critical.
Yeah.
So what tips do you have for people who want to sustain their routines over time, especially when faced with a setback?
Got to have a why. You got to have that reason for why you're doing it. Yep. Why are you now going on a walk every morning? What is it about it that is motivating you to do it? And then that way, when you have a hiccup, like you stayed up too late watching the election and you missed your alarm, you can easily get back on the next day because you remember what your why was. It's the same for starting a meditation practice. If something happens and you stayed up too late watching SNL or the election results and you missed your nightly meditation or your nightly Calm app, if you remember the next day as to why you started that habit, oh, I started this because I sleep better when I do this, then it's easier to get back on track. That sustainability really comes with the reason, the process for why you have created that habit that's specific to your mental well-being.
And so what are some common misconceptions that you've run into about the connection between routines and mental well-being?
I definitely think one of the biggest ones that we see is that it has to be every day. In other words, like I have to run a 5K every day. If I want to get faster, I have to run a 5K every day. And you're like, well, that's not really how routines work. You can have a routine on Monday that looks different than Wednesday. I know before we got started, Dr. Michelle was telling us about a Pilates class, and she goes to Pilates. And so your routine might be to run on Monday, but to have Pilates on Tuesday. And maybe you go for a walk on Wednesday, and then you go back to running on Thursday. Your routine doesn't have to be so cemented into place. It can allow for adaptability and versatility in a way that brings you more happiness. It's the same as like, do you want to eat the same thing for breakfast every day? Maybe you do, and you want something different for dinner. Or maybe you're the kind of person like my son, you cannot have the same breakfast every day. It would make you so unjoyful. So you create a routine of what Monday looks like versus what Tuesday looks like.
Wow. So routine is definitely important, especially, with the mental health, and everybody is different. So even though it may seem boring to one person to do the same thing every day, the same time, or eat the same breakfast, lunch, or dinner, if that is something that person wants to do, people should not inflict their beliefs and their routines on somebody else, because I believe, and you can comment on this, Jessica, when they do that, the person is not truly being themselves and they feel out of sync. Can you comment on that?
That's so true, right? When you're not being authentic to your own happiness and your own joy, your mental health knows. Your brain knows immediately if you're not being authentic to it. And so if you're just doing something because someone told you to, you're disconnect from that why. If we go back to like thinking about sustainability, you're not going to sustain a habit just because someone told you to do it. You're more likely to sustain a habit when you understand why that habit is important to you. And the habit can't be because Susie down the street said you should do it. It has to really resonate with you. And I love what you brought up, Michelle, like everyone's different, right? And everyone's routine and happiness is going to be different. I don't love to run, but I love to roller skate. And so the idea of having a routine of running every day makes me want to cry. But if someone says, let's go roller skate, I'm in, I'm there. Everyone has their own likes, their own dislikes. It's why there's so many different genes out there and so many different radio stations. So you have to really find what brings you joy.
Exactly. Dr. Mantell?
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about how you can help people overcome the belief that a routine is restrictive or boring. You sort of touched on that, but let's talk about diversity. Are there specific routines that you would recommend for different demographics, children, older people, people who live in the city, country, that sort of thing, live on their own?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think that to answer that question very clearly, I think that everyone should have part of the 4 pillars in their life of exercise, proper nutrition, mindfulness and meditation, and social connection.
Let's have you repeat that just one more time.
Sure. It's movement, nutrition, mindfulness and meditation, and social connection. And I think everybody from the ages of 5 to 95 should have those 4 elements in their life. And I think if you live in the country or in the city, you should have those elements in your life. Now, how you ingest or digest that is going to look different. So for children, it's going to be play. It's going to be sports. That's going to be their movement, right? And as you get older, it might turn to strength training or collective sports. And as you continue to age, it might turn into water or activities that are more appropriate for your age demographic, but still movement. So to answer your question, we should all, yes, have these 4. But no, because we should all have these 4 in a different way, and whatever makes sense for wherever you are in life.
Hold that though. You're going to have to go back. You got to repeat those 4 right after the break, because I don't want our audience to forget that. You caught my attention immediately. So I tell you what, we're going to take a station break. If you want to be part of this great conversation, all you have to do is just pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life. And, we got Jessica coming back right after the break. So join us.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be on it, to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z, and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Legendary Chicago deep dish style pizza at Rosati's Pizza Pub. Piled high with gooey cheese, rich tomato sauce, and your favorite toppings, Rosati's delivers the taste of the Windy City right to your table or front door. Enjoy the cozy pub atmosphere and an impressive selection of Temecula wines. Come on down to Rosati's Pizza Pub for your slice of Chicago right here on Rancho California Road, or order online at myrosatis.com. Rosati's, where Chicago deep dish pizza meets Temecula charm.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, this is an absolutely fantastic show, Dr. Mike. It's a fantastic show. I'm just gonna call it like I see it right now, Jessica. Hold on, I gotta invite you back on the show if your schedule permits. I mean, if you have the time, we gotta have you back on to share some more of this absolutely fantastic knowledge, enhancement, inspiring, or whatever you might want to say. So think about that one. Jessica, if you have time.
You got it. I would love it. That is on my joy list for sure.
Great. This is becoming a routine of yours, right?
Right. That's right.
Great.
And Jessica, I would be remiss if I did not mention and give you an opportunity to talk about this mental well-being group. And that's going on that you participate in. Also, some of the future trends of research and the direction that we're going as it relate to mental health, impacts on mental health and other things.
I would love to. Thank you for giving me the space to do that. So I work for the Mental Wellbeing Association, and we are an association who is creating education around how to improve your mental well-being, whether that is your personal well-being or how you as a fitness professional or professional in your life, maybe a practitioner or perhaps an educator, on how you can positively affect your client's mental well-being. So not only can you use this information for your own personal self, but we also teach you how to adapt it into your classroom space, your group fitness space, or dealing with clients, which is so important that you're not just taking care of yourself, but also letting it ripple and paying it forward. And so you can learn more at the mentalwellbeingassociation.org. The great thing about this association is that it is a direct affiliate of the John W. Brick Foundation on Mental Wellbeing. And the John W. Brick Foundation is the home of all of the research that is coming forward about mental well-being. They started this research foundation as a way to aggregate and to bring all of the information together in one place, making it so much easier for you to be able to disseminate between the science of what is coming forward and what is being said around the world about mental well-being. And so that is who I love to work with. I'm very passionate about the projects that we put forward, and I welcome you to check out the John W. Brick Foundation, the Mental Wellbeing Association.
Yeah, that's great. I'm familiar with it, as you know, and it's a hallmark in this field, which I think is wonderful. I remember back in the 80s when I first stepped into this, American Council on Exercise and whatnot, of talking about the role that psychological health, emotional well-being plays in fitness, and urged fitness trainers back then to take a moment before the training starts and talk with people about how they're feeling, what they're thinking, and use the fitness training to promote emotional well-being. Let's just talk about that for a moment. How can fitness trainers bring emotional health, emotional hygiene into a training session?
Oh, this is a wonderful question. So do you know that most fitness professionals see their clients more often than their clients see their doctors? And oftentimes people will say, oh, I'm going to my doctor tomorrow. And the fitness professional will be like, don't forget to tell them this thing, because most of the time you spend a lot more time with your group fitness or personal trainer instructor. And so we in the fitness industry, whether you're a health coach, a movement coach, a yoga instructor, can do exactly what you just said. How are you today? It can start as simple as that, of just that social connection, so that they know someone else sees and cares for them. Because remember, in that 4 pillars, it's movement, it's nutrition, it's mindfulness and meditation, and it's social connection. It's how you fit together with other people's puzzle pieces. And so that little bit of, how are you feeling today? How did you like class? How are you, feeling in your body and your mind? Did you sleep okay? Depending on what clientele you're working with, can really help you figure out how to have those really easy, simple conversations that we take for granted and that we really do need to instill back into our practices. And the other thing too that I think fitness professionals can do is focus less on the watches, the calorie counts, the sets and reps, and instead focus more on how you feel when you walk out of that room, when you leave that workout, when you're done. You should feel elated. You should feel energized. You should feel ready to tackle the world. You shouldn't feel beaten down. And what we're seeing coming out of the research and what direction we're going in mental well-being, specifically when it deals with fitness and wellness, is we're seeing that the pleasure principle, the joy factor, has to be there if you want people to keep coming back for more. They have to find a fun level to it. They have to see the need in their lives to adopt that new habit into their life. And then we're seeing a huge trend in recovery. It's not about going and feeling like you're starving or you're angry when you leave a workout. It's instead feeling like you're nourished and you're energized for the rest of your day.
I used to teach trainers the importance of helping their client work in before they work out. And if a trainer said, well, I don't have the time, take 2 minutes before you start the hoorahs and the sets and the reps and all that stuff that you said earlier you used to be focused in on, and just focus in on what people are thinking. It makes the workout a better workout. So quickly, just tell us what are some of the future trends or future research directions that you see in the connection between fitness and health and routines and emotional well-being.
I think one of the biggest aspects that we're going to see come forward in the future is proper nutrition and its immediate response on someone's mental well-being. We mentioned anxiety and depression before, and there's a lot of studies coming out showing that specific foods can hinder or increase those levels of feelings inside of people. And so I think we're going to see a huge push in whole foods coming back to the forefront of food really being thy medicine. I think another thing that we'll see come forward in the future when it comes to mental well-being and wellness together is this idea of self-care isn't a spa day, that self-care is something you do for yourself every day. And I think that conversation of self-care really being about your daily habits and not about that one time a year you go to the spa or you go on vacation or you have to, really kill yourself until you get to that week's vacation. I think that's going to change in our society, and we're really going to come back to self-care is actually what we do every day. That's how we take care of ourselves every day. And that is going to really help us elevate our mental well-being. And it's also going to make sure that less of us are feeling that terrible burnout or imposter syndrome or just constantly being tired. And instead, we're going to really start focusing on how we can take care of ourselves every single day.
So if we change the message that I have to go there to feel better, so I can thrive where I live, we're on to something. Jessica, that's great. That was great.
That is great. Hey, Jessica, we almost out of time, but can you tell our viewers and listeners that if they want to get in touch with you, get a hold of you and list your services, how can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at JHM Fitness, and that is also my website, jhmfitness.com. And it makes it easy because you can just email jessicahmaurer@gmail.com. Everything's my name, and you'll be able to find me there. So jhmfitness.com is the website, or on Instagram, and then Jessica H. Maurer at Gmail is my email address.
Hey, Jessica, I want to extend that invitation to you again about coming back on the show. I'm sure Dr. Michael set that up, so I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on our show and educate our viewers and our listeners. And I'm sure they got a whole lot out of this today. So thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Mike, always doing great things, always for the betterment of everyone. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another fantastic, outstanding show. I'd like to thank my studios at KCBQ AM 1170 Answer, FM 96.1 The Answer out of San Diego. And most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where it's the best of the James Cooley Show. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life.
JC, Cooley.